knife crime and stuff like that because he can't see, sir.
Right, he's blinded.
Can't say that's right.
All right, you have give me Micah 3:11 on that one. Also, Akim and Akwafian tonight we're gonna go into the history of New Year's Day and of course deal with the whole Brexit issue. Everybody clear on everybody has that breakdown on New Year's? Everybody understands it?
No, that's it.
All right. Give me Micah 3:11 first.
Hello, cousin. Micah 3:11. Micah 3:11. The head thereof judge for reward.
All right. So like also to Parashi, I know you just keep your eye on that Facebook stream. Let me know how if it's running smooth or not. All right.
Can't say.
All right, no sweat. Yeah, go ahead.
The head thereof judge for reward, and the priest thereof teach for hire.
Right, the heads thereof judge for reward, and the priests teach for hire. All right, that's a good scripture to go with what Officer Parasha was bringing out earlier of why preachers can't speak on the stuff that affect us. Preachers will have a whole sermon on what affects white people, opioid epidemic, or something with the white man's society, with Britain, with America, with the politics, but he will never speak on what affects us as a people, which is the oppression of the white man, because this preacher, he judges for hire. He has a price, you understand, and he gets paid, and because he gets paid, he will never speak on something that will short his money. Right? Read it one more time, huh?
The heads thereof judge for reward, and the priests thereof teach for hire.
All right, go ahead.
And the prophets thereof divine for money.
Right, they divine for money. Right, you look at any so-called black leader today, they're interested in the money that is involved in any situation, in any topic, in any circumstance, any situation that involves us where they have to come and say what the real deal is. They divine for money. Like their presence is there for money. And if there's no money there, Al Sharpton is not coming. If there's no money there, T.D. Jakes is not coming, Creflo is not coming. Give me some of them preachers in the UK who is like that. Black preachers or politicians or mayors, black mayors who belong to that BAME. Give me some of them names. What some of them names are?
David Lammy.
Dave Lammy. Dave Lammy is definitely one. I know recently he was damn near speaking out against the thing. I don't know if you probably see what you'll take, right? And Dave Lammy recently was making some good, strong statements, right or wrong, Karafi, or am I having them mixed up?
Last time it was against the whole Windrush thing.
It was against what?
The whole Windrush thing.
It was against the Windrush thing, right? But he ain't fully come out and say the white man is the devil, which needs to be said. You get me? That is something that needs to be said because that's where the root of everything is. You get me? And since then, has he said anything or has he gone quiet?
Quiet now.
He's quiet now because why? There's no more money to make. At that time, the Windrush scandal, there was some money, there was some fame to get. But right now, there's no fame to get from that. There's no more money to get from it. So he's quiet on everything now, or they probably silence him for know your place, nigga. Know your place. You understand? I done brought you up from the field into the big house, and you want to open him out and chat now, know your place, so they probably silence him. You get me?
Okay.
So that's what's going on with our leaders, and that's why we cannot look towards them to speak on our behalf for anything. All right, keep going.
But yet will they lean upon the Most High and say, "Is not the Most High amongst us? None evil can come unto us." Right?
They will not lean on the Most High, but they would proclaim like, "Yeah, the Lord is with us. The Lord is with us. No evil could come against us." Like you had preachers over here like Eddie Long and T.D. Jakes into that same thing. Eddie Long swear the Lord was on his side till the Lord killed him. You understand? Till the Lord put him in a box because he did some evil against the Lord and against the Lord's children. And the same thing is going to happen to every one of our preachers and politicians or so-called leaders who claim to be for us, but are not for us. All right. So good. Boom. Any other questions in the room? Anybody had questions on anything? Or you also what? You all say, you know, you're extra quiet. Say if you have any questions.
Oh, one, sir. You know the scripture where it says, the book is revealed to someone that's unlearned, and it said I can't read it.
Say that one more time.
The scripture where it goes, the book is like revealed to someone that's learned, and they said I can't read. I'm unlearned.
Yeah.
But then it goes. That's the preaching and stuff. That's exactly for preachers, because if you take what we teach as the truth to a preacher, he will not be able to break it down. He will not be able to understand it. He will not be able to give it back to you. You get the point? He will not be able to take it, break it down, and give it back to you because the book is closed to him. He tell you he can't read it. You understand? So like I said, well, after that it says, then the book is given to someone that's unlearned as well. But what's that part going to?
Say that one. Find the scripture for me if you could. Somebody else had their hand up in the back.
Isaiah 29 and 12, sir.
You have it? If you have it, read, all right?
Isaiah 29 and 12. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And it said, I am not learned. Verse 13. Wherefore the Most High said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear is taught by the precept of men.
Right? So that's excellent for the Christian church, because you take the Bible to them and they can't read it. They say, remove this from me. You get the point? They remove that from me. And they wouldn't necessarily say remove the Bible, but they would say, man, go from here with that God don't love everybody talk. Or go from here with that Christ is black talk. They would want that removed from them because they ain't about that. You get me? And they everything is after the traditions and precepts of men, not what's in the Bible. Right? Go ahead.
Because then it says that it was delivered to someone that's learned. Then the next verse, it's delivered to someone that ain't learned. So when you use learned and not unlearned.
Say that one more time.
But like I said, the verse above said the book was delivered to someone that was learned. Then the verse under it said it's delivered to someone that ain't learned.
Read the part under it.
Like 11. Isaiah 29 and 11. And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he says, I cannot put it to seal. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I am not learned. So my question was, keep learn after the unlearned.
Just keep reading after that part where he say, I am not learned as well.
Verse 18. Wherefore, says the Lord, for as much as these people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me. Okay, they're both the same, but one is your scholars of the world. You take it to him, he can't understand it. You take it to somebody else, they can't understand it as well. Somebody who is not considered a learned man, right? Like in your case, you would take it to Dave Lammy, right? He's considered learned, right? He don't understand it. The next thing would be to take it to Akala. He is not a quote-unquote learned man, but he's a respected man. He can't understand that either. You get what I'm saying? Right? But what it's trying to say is, to get this, the Lord has to show this book to you. The Lord has to show this book open to you, and through his prophets, he gonna show it to you. We clear? Tawab? All right, somebody else had their hand up. Sister, go ahead. She had a hand up. Say that again.
How did the world start?
How did the world start? Okay, I'm summing it up in short for you. It's a good question. The Lord created the earth in the space of round about 7,000 years. All right? It took around 7,000 years. It's recorded as 7 days. The scripture says a day for the Lord is like 1,000 years for man. So when it says 7 days, that's the Lord's time. But it's round about 7,000 years, or a very, very long time. It took to create the earth. He created it in stages. He cleared you read Genesis chapter 1, you're going to understand it. It might be a little bit tricky. If we want next week, we could go over it once we have a little bit more time. Or with one of the other classes, the brothers could go over it for you. But the Most High power Yahweh, Christ, who was with the Most High in the beginning, and the angels, they all created the earth and what we know as the earth and the atmosphere, star, space, everything, land, sea, animals, birds, trees, the vegetation, and then man and woman. All right? And man, when it says man and woman, it's talking about mankind and womankind. He did not create Adam and Eve first. Adam and Eve were on the earth already. He created them what, on the 5th day or the 6th day? He created mankind. On the 7th day is when he gave Adam the truth. And that's when it talks about he formed Adam from the dust. If you read it, it doesn't say he created Adam. It said he formed Adam from the dust, which means he took Adam from a low state, meaning Adam was a brother walking around any city anyway. He was in Birmingham walking around, didn't know his head from his elbow, and he found the truth. And the Lord told him who he was and gave him his laws, and Adam changed and became a living soul, meaning he was no longer dead, just existing in the world. But now he started living according to how the Lord wanted him to live. And then Adam took a woman, Eve, a rib. As how we call, when a brother has a wife in the truth, you call her a rib. That's basically the creation of the earth. Once again, we could go into it a little bit more next week for you when time persists. All right, sis? Once time gives us. All right? Or you could ask the brothers during the week if you make it to class. All right? She understands? She's there? Where's she at? I ain't see her. All right, you understand, sis? Just try to read Genesis chapter 1. And whatever you don't understand, put a little dot by it or a question mark, and you could bring it to class and we'll get it, all right? All right, sis?
Yeah.
All right, no sweat. All right, cool. Let's start with Brexit, and we'll do the New Year's afterwards, all right? All right, Brexit. So what's going on with Brexit right now? Somebody help me out. Bring me up to speed. Prasha, where you at? You up front? Go ahead.
What's going on now is they're trying to see what they can do, because even though a lot of the European countries, they're going to leave the UK, so they're trying to see what they can do. So like, you mean this? So like, even though they want to leave, they're trying to basically have as much. They're trying to basically maintain what they already have. So like, I forgot her name, Theresa May. She's basically individually going to all those countries, trying to see what she can do.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So they do want to leave, but they're trying to help out themselves as much as they can.
I got you. Anybody else?
They're trying to make deals with all the countries individually, because the UK is going to lose out on a lot of benefits that these transport, import, export, and so forth, trade into.
Right.
The police force as well. So deals, no Brexit deal. So.
Okay. Anybody else?
The car companies are now offering workers redundancy.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Like Japan Road, they're offering their employees redundancy due to Brexit.
So the car companies' employees, they're being what, fired?
Well, they're offering redundancy due to Brexit.
Due to the Brexit. All right. So Brexit overall is having, number one, economic implications. Number two, you have the socio-political implications, right? Brexit started what, in 2016, right? as we know it. The whole coin of Brexit under who? What's his name? Cameron? David Cameron? Right? David Cameron. David Cameron was what? The prime minister at the time, right? There was a lot of, I guess, schism or splits within the House, and they called the election. Cameron did not want to leave the EU. He wanted to stay. They voted against it and voted to leave the EU, right? That's where the Brexit came. The next day, Cameron stepped down. Cameron is like, I ain't having this. I'm done, right? Now, the history of it is that the European Union been stagnant since around 2008, 2007. All right, they have not seen any significant economic growth across the union. Now, considering that with all the other world trends that's been happening, it's really almost like it's shrinking. Even though it's not really moving, it's almost like it's shrinking because you have other factors around Europe that's contributing to it, which is namely the destabilization of the Middle East. The destabilization of the Middle East affected Europe, I mean, tremendously with the illegal immigrants. Your Ethiopians, your Moroccans, your, Syrians, all right? All those people who defected coming in, it started, it started a sort of process that not just economically where the European Union or the countries of the European Union was being affected, but also you have a rise in something called xenophobia. Anybody know what xenophobia is? All right, look it up real quick. Look up xenophobia or xenophobe. Like you have homophobia. Everybody know what homophobia is? All right? I'll redefine it. They say homophobia. What do they say homophobia is, Karafia?
Is it a fear of homosexuality?
Right. I ain't scared of no damn sodomite. All right? I just don't want none of them around. Right? So I'm going to redefine homophobia. I ain't scared of shit. All right? But xenophobia is something a bit different. All right? Anybody has it? Quickly.
Concept, got it.
Go ahead.
A dislike of a It's a dislike of a prejudice against someone from another country.
Right. You have a dislike or a prejudice against someone from another country. Right. Which is why you had the Windrush issue. The Windrush issue was a symptom or a downstream production of that whole xenophobia, that whole xenophobic culture that was rising. All right. So now, since 2008 coming up, it was successively, they had money problems, border problems, political problems, right? Bang, 2015, 2016, you have the whole talk of let's leave the EU. So the UK is who? Britain, Wales, who else? Scotland and Ireland?
Northern Ireland, sir.
Scotland and Northern Ireland, right? So that's the four, right? Now you have, even in the parliament, separation, right? What was the main separation in that during that time? What was the separation of? Was it conservatives? Was it the Democrats? Was it what? What was the separation really at that time? If you all paid attention to it, or if you all know.
So like I said, from the understanding I have, it was about it was like what happened was a lot of racist white people, they were sick of all the immigrants, and I believe a lot of them, they was Democrats. So they was like, we want them gone, and they was complaining about they all hugging the NHS, and that's what kind of started it between the political groups that there was.
Right. So now you have really, okay, and it's not just the among the groups, but you have now the people in England who have the money, who run the countries, whether they're conservative, whether they're part of the Democratic Party, whatever party they align themselves to, or whether they're the opposition. You have members of each one of those groups who are extremely rich. Extremely rich, and rich people, all they care about is their bottom line. So now if you have damn near over close to 10 years of economic stagnation, to a businessman, that is, you know, a loss. That's not a profit. That's regression. That's not progress. So of course, they want to start to now look at, if this is going on in the EU, eventually this will come to Britain. If the EU is this stagnant, eventually it'll come to the UK and Britain is going to suffer. You get me? So now there's like, you know what? Let's break away from the EU. Now this is as the UK. They don't want to break away as Britain. Straight off the back, they had to break away as UK first, right? So now they started wrangling up, had the vote with Cameron, voted against it. It was very close. It was something like 52 to leave, 40-something to stay. But when you look at the places, especially in Britain, that voted, those places that voted was places that had a strong sense of xenophobia, a strong sense of nationalist. You know, them people who like Tommy Morrison and Britain First. Those are the people who was heavy into, let's leave, let's take our country back. This is all around the time of Trump having that rhetoric of make America great again. That whole white pride, national pride, that mixed with the economic, or what they think is economic hardship, is what drove the whole thing of Brexit, right?
Oh, God.
So now it started in 2016. Anybody knows the process of Brexit? How would they leave? Now also too, when they had the vote, Britain voted to leave. Wales, I think, voted to leave. Ireland and Scotland wanted to stay. So it's still split down the middle, right? But in all the votes, the majority of people wanted to leave. So I believe that's where they pushed still to leave. So anybody knows the process of the Brexit? After the vote, what happened? After that local vote they had, what happened?
It's like after that vote, they had another one, because not everyone was happy about it. Some were saying that it would hurt England more if they leave. So Theresa May also called a vote as well, sir. Okay,
the vote she called, you talking about the recent one?
Okay,
that recent one is after. I'm gonna explain that recent one. And it's okay. The reason I'm going into it is because if you try to follow what the hell they do, and they'll confuse you behind with what all the nonsense they doing, because really they're trying to hide their greed and lust for money. They're really just trying to hide their greed and their lust and their fear of losing money behind the politics. All right. When after Cameron had that vote, the next thing when Theresa May came in kind of by default, because Cameron stepped down, the next thing was that you have to enact Article 50, right? Article 50 is you enacting that to now start the process of voluntarily leaving the EU. The EU is made up of, I think, 28 or 20-something states across Europe. You know, Germany is part of it, France. They're all part of that thing, right? You enact Article 50, in which you have 2 years to form an agreement of how you're going to leave. Because anybody knows the history behind that European Union and why it was formed. And okay, now this is something it's good for you to know and understand, because it's leading straight into the Third World War. It's biblical prophecy unfolding before you. And it's something that you really need to get a grasp of to understand, because it's not just happening in England, it's happening in France. It's happening all over. It's happening in America in a different political climate, but it's still happening. All right? What do you know so far is the history of the European Union?
Like I said, I believe it's to get all the European countries in peace. Because for years, England and France have been fighting for years. The European Union, so all the European countries can trade and so forth. The resources here.
Right. Just like anything. Just like anything. Even if you take it to a street level with drug dealers, when one drug dealer meets another big time drug dealer, their interest is to have peace with each other, because a war means drugs don't sell, which means we don't make no money. And it's the same thing with them, because they damn near gang leaders and thugs at that level. They just wear suits and ties. Like it goes as far back as 5th century, BC or AD with the fall of Rome. After Rome fell, it split up. Then you had the different wars. Then you had different countries and regions starting to come together to form alliances, so that, you know, two is better than one. You get the point? That type of philosophy, that type of mindset, that we, rather than we fight each other separately, we could join and we could now absorb the pain or the cost or the losses of fighting wars. You understand? So that strategy took its way all up into the 17 and 1800s, where you had what? The French Revolution. After that, you had the American Revolution, right? In which France aided America, but it was to France's demise, because France suffered financially after the helping America in the American Revolution. Go ahead.
It's like, yeah, that's like on the movie The Wire, like the co-op. Like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Thank you. They had the co-op. They come together because a war means drugs don't sell. A war means the customer is dying, because, you know, they're going to get shot when they had a drive-by. A war means your low and mid-level sellers are dying, which means you're not moving the quantity of drugs you want to move. You're losing money. So why not let's just have a treaty and have a peace and come together and just sell everything and split the profit? You understand? There'll be no war, but the profits will be so great. Even if we split it up, we'll make more than we would together separately. So that's what it led into. That's how you form the European Union. And that's really the whole process of it. Now, I'm speeding you along. With the French Revolution, what time you have there? Close to 9? Okay, with the French Revolution, you had that taking place just after the American Revolution, just after America broke away from Britain with the aid of France, with money and soldiers and stuff like that. Boom, America got their independence. After that, shortly after, France had a serious decline in their economics. Who was the king at that time? Louis the 15th or the 16th or something like that? I believe it was Louis the 16th. I forget his woman name. Two of them lost their heads by the end of the revolution, by the time Napoleon came in. But they had damn near the same thing there, where the rich wanted a certain amount of power and did not want to lose any money. So they started taxing the poor. And the poor was not having it. They started reconstructing the politics, where the rich, the aristocracy, and then I forget the names of the groups, but one group was the rich who was in power, the other group was the religious leaders, and then you had the poor people. The poor people was, of course, the majority. The other two was not the majority, but they wanted to have special voting power, where like one of their votes count for 10 or some shit like that, to balance it off. The poor didn't have it. They went back and forth for a while. Then they started introducing taxes on wheat. For the poor wasn't having it, and that started a series of revolts and rebellions, which finally ended when Louis XVI fled, where he fled to Belgium or Wales, one of them territories where his cousin was ruling, his cousin who was ruling over Belgium, I forget his name. He was a mass murderer too. What's his name? Come on, someone, one of y'all help me out. It's not Napoleon. Napoleon is the short dude who came in after. Who was the guy who was ruling Belgium? And he killed a ton of them Hamites, like 10 million of them, or 15 million. Not Mussolini. He's a famous dude too. Leopold. Leopold is his name. You all ever heard the name Leopold before? Leopold is related to King Louis. I think Louis fled France once the table started to, turn. Once it started to get turbulent, the poor people saw that as he did not care about them and he sided with the rich. When that really wasn't what happened. Louis was, historically, he's known as a weak king. He was very weak, like a pushover, right? And he fled because, of course, he thought they was trying to kill him from within. The poor, in gaining power with the revolts, looked at it as Louis did not side with them. They caught him. They tried him for treason, not treason, I forget the sedition. Forgot the name of the charge, but really it's, defecting. They caught him, tried him for that, cut his head off with the guillotine. They took his woman, tried her for that, cut her head off with the guillotine too. Then Napoleon came in, and after that, you all know the history with Napoleon. Napoleon as a man went to war. He was a dictator the same way. But it's the whole thing of the oppressing the poor, and then there's a revolution happening. So now, with all those things happening, within that time of the French Revolution, you had different alliances being formed. And as time progressed, they was looking at how it was affecting the region, where they couldn't trade with each other because you belong to this crew. You belong to that crew. Like when, with Louis the 16th went and made alliances with Belgium and Wales and all of them, there was differences where they couldn't trade with each other. They came together and formed the European Union where they could trade across borders. There was no tariffs. There was nothing. They had certain things that had to be done. They would absorb losses as a union, and they would split the gains as a union, right? So now comes the Brexit. They enact the Article 50. They're ready to leave. They have 2 years to come up with an agreement on what is going to be the future of the UK, the future of Britain after they leave, right? So from March 2017 until now, Theresa May has been negotiating with the European Union, with different countries, on how we're going to keep up with trade, because of course, no, Britain ain't going to be part of the EU anymore. And it's something they did not consider when they was considering the xenophobia, which is get everybody out. They did not consider that the European Union will put tariffs on Britain and tax them out of trade, which would mean you landlocked. You can't do nothing. You probably will have to trade with America now. You get the point? They did not consider that. Britain is the #3 target of export for Germany, which means, you all know karate like he BMWs and them, right? And what's it called? Dungoba swear is the baddest thing on the world. It could fly to Mars and back. The Scirocco. Where that come from? Germany. You understand? Like Britain consumes a great number from Germany. So Angela Merkel, who is the British Chancellor, she was very concerned about the UK exit. She did not want Brexit because it would impact Germany's bottom dollar, because Germany's selling a whole ton of stuff to the UK and Britain. You get the point? Karate, what article you hold? Which one you hold? Which one you have up from Forbes?
Reasons less the EU, sir.
Yeah, give me that one.
Several different surveys polls have asked why Brits voted to leave the EU. The 2 main reasons were to leave were immigration and sovereignty.
Mm-hmm. What is it? It was 3 main reasons or 2?
2, sir.
Okay, I think the one I want is with 3. 3 main reasons. 3. Okay, the head of the article I think is 3 reasons Brits voted for Brexit. What was the 2 they gave you? Economics and what?
It was like I said, it was immigration and sovereignty.
Okay, I could take that too, but the other one has a little bit more. Give me the one with 3. 3 reasons Brits voted for Brexit. Let me hear what that one says. You got it?
I got to reduce immigration, terrorism, and sovereignty.
Okay.
To reduce terrorism and sovereignty.
Okay, there's one where it says economics, sovereignty, and politics. Political elitism. They're all basically the same thing, but I think this one has it best.
Come on, Kaiser.
Go ahead and read what you have. Let me hear it.
I got responded to emphasize the national and personal economic costs of leaving the EU, voted overwhelmingly to remain. Regarding community and survey showed that people believe that leaving the EU would reduce immigration to help protect Britain from terrorism and to keep sovereignty.
Right? So that's what we talk about, the xenophobia, right? Go ahead.
How much did the perception of the risk leaving or staying make a difference to the decision? Were voters driven strongly by anxiety over perceived threats from immigration arising from free movement of EU nationals into Britain? What were the roles of prominent politicians such as David Cameron, Boris Johnson, and Nigel Farage in motivating people to vote? Either to remain or to leave, survey research support by the UK in a change of Europe programs allows us to assess how these other factors influence the referendum votes.
Okay, hold on. That's not it. Okay, this is what I type in for me. Just Google 3 reasons Brits voted for Brexit. And it's that first article to the top. It's an article from Forbes magazine. Right? Is that first article to the top? It's dated 2016, July 5th. All right, let's go.
The British voted to leave the European Union, even at only 52%. Brexit couldn't have been imagined 10 years ago. This fragment has been evident throughout Europe, but it's the first case of national access deciding to leave. I doubt that it will last. Now, we should try to understand why the majority of Brits favor to exit from the EU and learn reasons. There are 3 main factors that lead to the outpouring of votes to leave. Economics. The first was simple. Opponents of the EU argued that it is a dysfunctional economic entity. The EU failed to address the economic problems that have been developing since 2008.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's what we went over. Right. They see that the rich of Britain think that the EU did not pay enough attention to how stagnant the economic climate was. And they was like, listen, if we wait any longer, this thing is going to spread to home and we're going to be in the same place they are. We're going to be suffering like they are. Right? Go ahead. 20%
unemployment in Southern Europe. The difference between the lives of Southern Europeans and Germans who enjoyed 4.2 unemployment is profound.
Right. And Southern Europe is who?
Germany.
Give me some other countries.
Germany, France.
France.
Germany, France.
Italy, isn't Italy Southern Europe?
Can't say it yet.
Right, Italy, Southern Europe versus your Northern Europe, which is like your UK, your Netherlands, your who else is up there? Germany, Sweden, right? Spain is also Southern Europe, right? So they're saying the difference in those countries was profound. And it's like, man, you know, eventually what will happen, because the gates are wide open for travel, if I'm down south and I can't find jobs, where am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Going to go up to the UK, sir?
You're going to go north. So not only are they looking at the Syrians and the Algerians, but they don't want them devils from other countries coming into their country. This is the white man act. He can't get along with nobody. You get the point? With no, after he done deport everybody, he'll turn on his own. That's how he is. After he done deport everybody who he think is a threat, he'll go to his brother and slit his throat. That's how he is. You get the point? Keep reading in the article. Skip me down to skip one verse. One paragraph for me. Quickly.
They believe that remaining in the European Union would make Britain fellow Europe's lead.
Right? So you see right here, they ain't talking about the UK, they're talking about Britain, which means they already bypassing Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. They don't give a damn about that. Because Britain is the one who anchoring the union. I mean, anchoring the UK, you could say. You get me? Britain is the one who holding shit down. So there's like, man, F y'all. Y'all gonna have to, you know, fend for yourself. We out. You get me? Keep going.
Obviously, they didn't think that Europe would throw up back trade barriers against Britain. UK is Germany's third most important export target.
You understand? The UK is Germany's third most important export target. This is worldwide. This ain't just the union. You get me? Like, them leaving is going to leave Germany in a you know, in a bad place, not only because of it'll be more expensive to sell to them because they're not part of the union, where, you know, they're getting lower prices because we're part of this table. Now, for me to ship the raw goods to you over, there's a certain price. But now it's going to go up. Now all that money that circulating between Britain and Germany, it's not there anymore, which means what? Germany is going to suffer economically. You get the point? So it's a big issue. That's why Merkel was so involved, right? Skip me down to the next one. We'll do the second one last. Political elitism.
Political elitism. Finally, the political leadership of Britain faced a profound loss. The Leave voters rejected both the Conservative and Labour parties. Both parties have endorsed remaining with the EU and saw many of their members go into opposition on the issue. Ultimately, it was a three-way struggle. Two established parties want to remain in the EU, and the third faction, drawn from both parties, opposed it. People in this third group saw both the establishment parties as hostile to their interests. This should be considered in the broader sense.
All right, stop right there. Anybody understands that, what they're saying? Who want to try? All right. It's okay. They're saying even within them political parties, each of them political parties have whatever political theme or culture for each one, right? Within each of them parties, even in the opposition, you had the top tier rich devils who wanted to leave. They didn't care about the party's political view or culture. They wanted to leave. That's why they left the two parties and went into the opposition. And that's why the opposition had more. You get me? Like, this thing is about money. This thing is about my pockets getting short. And these devils, okay, these devils is talking about maybe losing $1 million a year. Each of them. It's so much of them. But okay, I mean, they so greedy they can't take a loss of 5 million a year. And they're making something like what, 50 million every year? You understand? But 5 million a year, they're like, listen, if we do this, we're gonna be like them niggas. Soon we're gonna be bagging up groceries in Tesco, and I ain't doing that shit. Time to leave. You get the point? So they break apart from the political alliances for the sake of money. All right? Okay. Where you at? Read the next paragraph. Let me hear.
Okay. The possibility of Brexit frightened financial markets. They said so loudly. What they did not grasp was the degree to which they had lost legitimacy in 2008.
Right? Like, okay, this was something, you remember when it was announced, all the stock markets across the world started to take a dive. When it was announced that morning, I remember it happened like Thursday night or late or early Friday morning when Cameron stepped down because of it. Man, that sent ripples across the world because everybody's looking at their money. Because now if the union is in jeopardy, now all the trade I'm doing, all the business, all the merchandise I'm sending over there, what will become of it? Now we had tariffs and trade and I had to pay more money. And the profits I getting, I had to pay an extra tax on it. Nobody don't want that. These devils ain't having that. You get me? Skip down to where it says, this is not a new phenomenon in Europe.
This is not a new phenomenon in Europe.
Salaki, skip up to where it's vital to understand.
It's vital to understand that Brexit was a vote against the British elite.
You understand? Go ahead.
Voters thought politicians, business leaders, and intellectuals had lost their right to control the system.
You understand? The same thing that happened with the French Revolution. You understand? Them poor white people who can't talk no good English. Me and me this, me check is this, and me this is that. And horrible English, no teeth, just horrible even to look at and hear. They voted for Brexit because they was like, yes, me want me country back. You get the point? Because they thinking them politicians not in a position to run nothing because they're not looking at it from our point of view. Well, right amongst them politicians, you have the rich elites who will side with them because they know they need that mantra going forward in order to fully separate. Similar to what Donald Trump did in America. Donald Trump's base was your rednecks, your, poor white trash, your trailer trash, married to those rich, racist white people who couldn't be openly racist. They needed those poor people to come together to mobilize and generate that whole culture of make America great again. You taking all our jobs. I want my country back. You get me? Keep going.
This is not a new phenomenon in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a British phenomenon. Even is it something that is sweeping Europe and China. And with the rise of Donald Trump, it's also present in the United States.
It's also present in the United States. It's the same thing that's been happening. And this is something that's very important. Who knows why?
It's showing that the white man, it's showing that like the white man wants to be separate, and then we should be separate also.
I'll take that. Anybody else?
Losing control.
Explain a little bit more. What do you mean losing control? Who's losing control?
The white nation altogether.
The white man, he's losing control. So now, because he's losing control, or in his mind he's losing control, what is he doing?
Stepping up his action against.
Against? Go ahead, I hear you.
But again, yeah, people like us.
People like us and people not like us. He's stepping up his action against everybody, which is, okay, this is a time in the earth that is prophetic. That's what we live in right now. All right, both y'all is absolutely correct. Give me Isaiah 13 and 14. All right, give me Isaiah 13 and 14. Margot, you want to read that for me? So, Karathi, you could hold the article, because I'm going to come back to there because we skip out sovereignty. All right, come on.
Isaiah 13 and 14. And it shall be as the chase robe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. Yes,
and this is the time we're living in now, where every man is turning back to his own people. Every man is turning back to his own people. You understand? If you all had food and stuff you all wanted to share out, you all could do that too. I know you're probably, might want to eat or drink or whatever. You all could do that too, all right, Prasha?
Concept.
All right. So this is the time we're living in now, where every man is turning back to his own. What's the problem with this? Everybody is having a sense of nationality. Everybody is, make America great again, Britain first. Them Arabs and them is, coming up with the whole Islam power. What's the problem with the whole tide of the world? Chinese is standing up with their nationality. What's the problem with the tide of the world? When I say the tide, everybody, just imagine a beach and the tide coming in and coming out. We're moving in unison. Everything come in and everything go out. And right now, the tide of the earth is everybody is turning back to their own. Everybody is returning to their own people, their own land. What's the problem with that? Go ahead, Karathia.
We got no land, no nationality to turn to.
We got no land, but bigger than that, we not even turning back to our own people. We fighting to go with them. We fighting to be American. We fighting to be British. We fighting to be Muslim. We fighting to be German when the Germans don't want nothing to do with us. The British don't want nothing to do with us. America don't want nothing to do with us. We should be fighting to turn back to our people. You get me? All right. Give me back the article now. Go back to the one in the middle. I think is what? Sovereignty? Go ahead. No sweat.
Sovereignty. The second reason for Brexit is the rise of nationalism across the world. There's a growing distrust of multinational financial, trade, and defense organizations created after World War II. The EU, the IMF, and NATO are good examples of this. Many who oppose the EU believe these institutions are no longer serve a purpose.
You understand? Go ahead, keep going.
Not only that, these organizations take control away from the individual nations. Mistrust and fear of losing control made Brexit a reasonable solution to them.
Now, who understands what that said? I know somebody had to be with me with this one. Come on, Prasha.
It means that the ones that was itch, they was afraid. So now that's the reason why they want to break up.
That's true.
Pretty much.
That's true, but there's something else in there. I want you to see how evil this white man is. Go ahead, Karafi.
Say that being a group like the EU or NATO, it takes away the power from the individual country. They want to stand alone and have their, like, no, they don't be bundled up in a group when they're individual and be recognized as an individual.
No, okay, that's correct. Read the first line where it said there's a growing distrust.
There's a growing distrust in multinational financial trade and defense organizations created after World War II. The EU, IMF, and NATO are good examples of these.
Now, the EU was Europe, but of course, all of us who have roots in the Caribbean, the IMF and NATO and the World Bank, and what's the other one? Yeah, the NATO. NATO is the United Nations military force. We have experience with that through Haiti, Grenada, Barbados, Jamaica with the bananas. They've been taking over our countries for damn near a century, under different names, of course, but using the same umbrella. But now that their money getting short, they start to hate the same institutions they create. You see what I'm saying? Like, there was a growing distrust of these financial institutions. So there was no distrust when you all wrecked the banana industry in the Caribbean. There was no distrust when you all made I.S.U.P.K, which is the so-called Mexican. The tribe of I.S.U.P.K is famous for what? Maize and corn, rice. They put trade tariffs on Mexico so that Mexico has to buy rice when Mexico is full of rice fields and corn fields. You get the point? Like, they come in there, tell you they're going to give you a loan, but you can't make what you make no more. You can't use or sell your bananas. You have to buy bananas from wherever we have. And the bananas you have, we're going to take them from you for a small price and sell them wherever we want anyway. You understand? They was wrecking our economy. They was wrecking our countries for years and didn't give a damn. But now the chickens come home to roost. Now you all want to leave Brexit. Now you all want to Brexit. Now you all have a problem with it. No problem. All right, no sweat. You'll go ahead and leave. Let it all fall down so that the Lord could come back. You get the point? Which is the trend of the white man. The white man put crack, cocaine, and drugs in our communities, and it wasn't a problem until his sons start taking opioids, until his daughters turn into crack whores after they done been destroying our communities. Now we have an opioid problem. Now it's a big deal when the rich white people, their children overdosing on drugs. When ours was doing it, it wasn't a problem. You was counting cheddar then. You was cashing out and counting all the money then. You didn't give a damn. It's the same thing here. You get? All right, keep going.
Many who oppose the EU believe that the institutions no longer serve a purpose. Not only that, these organizations take control away from individual nations. Mistrust and fear of losing control made Brexit a reasonable solution to them.
Right? Mistrust and fear. You know why? Because there's no honor among thieves. You ever hear that? That's what I'm saying. More people always say that. There's no honor among thieves. And the white man is the thief of the earth. And there's no honor among him. So, of course, even if they make a deal, there's a lot of mistrust and fear there. You understand? There's a lot of mistrust and fear. So now here we're at. They already pushed the Brexit through. Theresa May, she signed an agreement with the EU because, of course, now that they're no longer part of the EU still has to make money. And if UK is not there, then UK is subject to be taxed. UK is subject to have to pay higher prices for imports because now you're no longer with us, so we could take advantage of you the same way. Theresa May went and struck a deal with everybody that would make sure Britain is not, punked or ran over. You get me? That nobody ain't gonna come and stick you all up and say what we eating for lunch and take all your lunch money. She tried to make a deal to make sure Britain don't get bullied. Her counterparts do not like the deal, which is the second vote you was talking about, Parashia. She made the deal with the EU. The EU signed off on it. The EU also said, we are not negotiating with you anymore. It's a done deal. This is the final deal we make it. If Theresa May's counterparts do not vote in support of the deal she struck, the whole Brexit thing could fall apart. You understand? Because they cannot go back to the European Union to renegotiate anything. Right? So now she is threatening those other politicians, saying, you all better vote. You all wanted Brexit. You all don't like my deal. If you don't vote, there will be no Brexit. So it's a whole ton of mafia thing going on there right now. That's why the man called her, you bloody foolish woman, or stupid woman, or whatever, because she gangstering them, they gangstering her back. You understand? Because it's so much money on the table. Now, understanding that, what does that mean for us? Understanding what's going on with her, understanding what's going on with France and the French Revolution, what happening again, where Macron decided to do what? Impose a tax on a certain class of people through, under the umbrella of what? Taking care of the environment. You get the point? On taking care of the environment, he imposed this gasoline tax, which impacts a certain demographic, which is really poor people. They don't want it. They're revolting. They lighting France on fire, burning down the place, ready for a revolution. The poor people want to vote Macron out. The politicians want to say, have a vote of no confidence for Theresa May. Black people on the streets of Britain and in Europe, what is black people's response to that? Black people are black people worried? Are black people concerned about the jobs? Are black people saying, you know, time's going to be hard because, you know, Brexit this, Brexit that?
Answer there, not sir.
All right, tell me what are most brothers and sisters talking about with respect to this whole Brexit thing, France, everything that's going on?
From my understanding, no one really cares, like, amongst what's it. They watch it and they know of it, but it doesn't really get to them, so, like, in a way where they think it's going to affect them.
Nobody really cares much about it. I know the brother almost ready to roll. How much more time we have for him, Prasha?
We got time.
About 10 minutes.
3 minutes.
Okay, he gonna have to leave in a second. Okay, Prasha, could you take him and Karafi could stay?
Concert can.
All right, no sweat, no sweat. All right, Magawa, I know you would have liked to stay on more, but I know you had to get back, all right? Because you on the train. So the brother, if you want, you could go ahead and roll now with the brother, all right?
I got that, sir.
It's like you said, like Pastor saying, I think the brothers are too far down the line to really care. They're just, you know, trying to get by, trying to hustle and so forth. And then, regardless of whatever political thing they make,
exactly. All right, Yabashim Shabakatha. Good to see you again, warrior. All right, just make sure I lock up for him. Right? Prasha, just let me know once you all get there, all right? And you set him up, all right? All right, so what Officer Karathi said was right. Is more so that we so much on the bottom. It's like a slave don't care about a beef between two plantation owners, right? What does a slave care about?
A slave wants to get fed.
He just wants to get fed. He just care about where the next meal coming from, where the bill's coming from. But this is a time that we have to pay attention, and it's written in the Bible. Give me 2nd Ezra chapter 9, real quick. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm. 2nd Ezra 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently.
Do my favor, Karathi. You could go back where you were, just to mind the door as the guard, all right? No sweat. Second is just 9 and 1, real quick, all right?
So he answered me then and said, measure down the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, when I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world he made.
Right? Measure the time diligently, and you will see that this is the time, as was prophesied before, where the Lord will begin to visit the earth which he made. Like all these was going on with the white man, with Brexit, with France, with Germany, China, all the rumors of wars and the wars, all these are signs of the Lord is beginning to return to the earth. Right? Keep going.
Then shalt thou understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end.
Right? Then you will begin to understand the Lord talk about this from the beginning. The Lord prophesied all these things happening. Go ahead. What verse you at?
Verse 5, I don't want to read verse 5.
Go ahead.
And the end is manifest. Verse 6. Even so the times of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and the ending in effects and signs.
Right.
And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed. Right.
This is the time where our deliverance is going to come. Like you're looking at it, and it seems like something you should not pay attention to. It seems like just more white people arguing and quarreling. Brother, pay attention to it. Sisters, y'all pay attention to it. Try to look and see what the hell is going on. They all just greedy dogs fighting over money. Fighting over money, fighting over their pockets. And they're willing to let countries fall over it. And the Lord wants it to happen. And as they're fighting over the money, the poor is going to revolt. Give me chapter 15. Same book. Give me chapter 15 and start at 16. Start at 14.
Chapter 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
Right? Destruction. Woe is destruction. Woe to the world and to them that dwell therein. And that's what's happening in the world right now. Destruction is happening. And it's a good thing. Go ahead.
Verse 15. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands.
You understand, which is in keeping with Matthew 24. One nation shall rise against another. Swords in their hand. Destruction is near. Keep going.
Verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men.
There shall be what?
Sedition.
There shall be
men.
what?
Sedition among men.
What is that? What is sedition? Anybody knows?
It's like division of love.
Give me a good definition of it. Give me a good definition. Somebody look it up. One of you sisters, you all have smartphones? You all look it up. Let's look up the meaning of sedition. Go ahead.
Sedition in Oxford Dictionary, conduct or speech inciting people to rebel.
Does it?
Against authority, state,
you understand? It's conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against their government. You get the point? That's what's happening now. That's what's happening now with them crossing the floor, this one going to the opposition, this one making speeches, Britain first, France, Macron, Germany. That's what's happening with the uproars of the people. You get the point? They no longer have confidence in their governments. And this is the time we're living in. Go ahead.
So there shall be sedition among men, invading one another.
And invading one another. Invading one another. Wars. And going in each other's zone and fighting each other. Go ahead.
They shall not regard their kings no princes.
What ain't that what happening right now? Ain't they have a vote and no confidence against Theresa May? They tried it before and it failed. They tried to kick her out. And what, last 2 weeks, one of them young boys pick up the damn scepter and walk out the damn parliament with it. Because he didn't want to hear from her. You get the point? The French people, they have a vote and no confidence against Macron. They don't respect their kings no more. And what's going on in America? Some supporting Trump, but right now everybody wants to get rid of him. Even some of the people who did support him in the beginning don't want nothing to do with it. Right? Keep going.
And the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
You understand? What they have done is going to stand in their power. And stand in the face of it, because this is what they used to do. They've been doing it, and now it's coming back to bite them. You get the point? Keep going.
A man, verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
Yes, I'll read it again.
A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able.
A man will desire to go into a city and will not be able. Soon you ain't going to be able to go nowhere. Y'all better, I see you like to go on vacations. Y'all better go to Spain and Italy and Germany now. But if Theresa May get her way, he is going nowhere. He is going Nottingham. He is going Leeds. That's as far as you're going. You're going nowhere because you're no longer part of the union. You ain't going to be able to travel as free as you want to. A man will desire to go into a city and he ain't going to be able to because of what's been going on. Ain't that what's going on in France right now? They can't even go into their cities because of the protest. You get me? Go ahead.
Verse 18, but because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid.
Right, because of their pride, and that's what they have done. The white man is a proud bastard, proud as can be. Proud as can be, and right now, he is facing his destruction because of it. You get me? This whole thing with Brexit is perfect. It's a perfect thing, and we should pray that they all fall, that they separate and fall because of what they've done to us, and it has never been answered. They've done things to us, and now they're suffering for it and expect to have some sort of, good turnout, some sort of good conclusion because of it. Why? Why should they have it? They should never have it. You understand? They should not have it. Let them continue to have uproars. Let them continue to have, disruption and protest and political gaffes and everybody stealing from everybody, and let the whole thing turn upside down because it inevitably means the salvation of our people. That's what it turns out to be. It means that now our people is going to get salvation because this is the beginning of the time where the Lord is going to start visiting the earth. You understand? We clear on it? Any questions on it? With what?
The next verse about a man shall have no pity on his neighbor.
Go ahead.
That's what heathens.
Read it, let me hear.
Verse 19, the next verse. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. Is that talking about the riots and the heathen in Macron?
Okay, it's talking about that, but bigger because, this is, you could use it for, of course, on a small scale, but think Brexit, right? Britain wants to leave. Wales wants to leave. Ireland and Scotland don't. Britain does not give a damn about their neighbor. They will do something to spoil their neighbor's house because of bread, because of money. You understand? And that's so heavy. What do Israelites call money? Don't we say bread, dough? You understand? Because of money, they'll spoil their neighbor's house. Because of money, Scotland and Ireland getting ready to go right back to bombing the tube. Remember that time where was the terrorist organization? IRA, right? Where every other week they was bombing the tube. That's getting ready to happen if Britain leave. is getting ready to go right back to all that nonsense. Pretty soon, they ain't going to have to worry about the Arab. They're gonna be worrying about other crazy white men. Pretty soon. You did?
Because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation.
All right, because of lack of bread and great tribulation, which is what UK is suffering right now in the EU. Right? Which is what is going on. They're looking at it as they're losing money. They're lacking bread, they're lacking this, and they're suffering. So nowadays, like, you know, forget you all, it's a done deal. It's a done deal, it's over. It's a good thing. Pay attention to it. Pray they all make the wrong decision. Pray they all vote in favor so that the Lord could destroy them and show how weak they are and show how misguided they are. Pray that it happens, because this is the time the Lord is beginning to visit the earth. You understand? All right, no sweat. Y'all good on New Year's? Anybody had New Year's questions? Or y'all to what? Go ahead.
So, is New Year's like the God with two faces, something like that?
The God Janus. You look up Janus. I don't think he's the God with two faces. I'm not sure what his thing looks like. But I know Janus, he's the God of doorways. Doorways are entrance, like if you're going through a door, all right, and crossing a threshold, right? Janus is Janus is the God that they named the month of January after as the first month, because of course midnight December 21st is, you know, you're going into January, or you're going into Janus, the month of Janus, which is the month of so-called new beginnings. All right. You have it?
Janus presided over the beginning and end of conflict, and hence war and peace. The gates are built in Rome, named after him. As a god of transitions, he had functions pertaining to birth and to journeys and exchange, and his association with Portunus, a similar harbor and gateway god.
Right. He was he was the God of transitions, of beginnings, of starting here and finishing there, or ending here and starting there. That's why everybody is what? You have New Year's resolution, right? This year I ain't doing this no more. This year I ain't doing that. This year I'm not doing this. That was just good for last year. This year I'm just doing this, which really is, next year is what? Tomorrow. You get me? It's one day away. If you were going to make a change, why not just change now? Why not? Why wait till next year to, you know, stop getting high or whatever it is? You know, everybody had a resolution of what they're going to stop doing. Why not? Why wait? Why not just do it now? Because you're caught up in Christianity and the white man's culture. You want to wait on Janus because you're really worshiping Janus. You want Janus to bless you as you go from midnight December 31st to, you know, the morning of January 1st. You understand? And of course, that is not the new year. You all know that, right? The new year is when?
April, around April.
It's springtime. Everybody knew that? Your sisters, you're familiar with it? You're to what? Okay, no, so everybody understand it, right? New Year's is around the springtime. You find that in the book of Exodus. Also, Daniel chapter 2 will tell you the white man seeks to change the dates and the times, which he did with the Julian calendar and switched everything around, added months in, renamed months, stuff like that. You understand? The New Year's is not January 1st. The New Year is around spring. It's literally 14 days before Passover. Whatever the Passover is, 14 days before that, that is, if you want to mark it for a date, that's the New Year, but it's the spring season. That's what the New Year is, all right? All right, no sweat. We to what? All right, so we're going to just salute out because of the time, all right? Oh, Salakia, read the announcements, Salakia. With that, pass the class over to Priest and Officer Karafi.
I.S.U.P.K security announcements. With the I.S.U.P.K started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohanna, brought for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will call each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10 means 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or the teacher. Priest fund, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you like to give. Upcoming holy convocations is Purim. I believe it's the 8th of February and 9th of February.
February 18th and 19th.
Salakia, February 18th and 19th, the Feast of Purim. All active check the bulletin board in the hallway and check all I.S.U.P.K social media. That's Twitter and the Instagram and Facebook. If anyone wants to get troop in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and a headscarf. With that, I imagine, stand. I imagine one place to speak to the teacher.
So, like, the sisters be seated.
Sorry. Men of Israel, I Madam Shabbat, I Madam Iraq, Yahweh Hashem
Yahweh
Yajamata, and Sa, Smitten, I Madam, one can speak to the sisters, I Madam Shabbat, I Madam Iraq, Yahweh Shema, I Hashem Yahweh. Yajamata, class dismissed.
All right, Karathia, just check on Parash to see how far he reached and if everything's straight, all right?
All right, so no first.
All right, Yabashim Shabakatham, Yashama Than Basham Yawsha.